Shalom. So this is Romans chapter 15 and verse 4. It says, "For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning." Right? So basically it's talking about like history. History was supposed to do something for us. It was supposed to do something to us. But instead, what do we use our history to do? We use it to debate each other, right? So instead of it is serving a purpose where it can change the generations after us, it is used to serve our own egos, right? So most of us, if not all, are familiar with these three ships, right? Which they said in their stories that Christopher Columbus sailed in three ships, right? But why did they use that as part of their stories? Because when you sail to a foreign land with only three ships, then they can consider you a merchant. You are looking for a settlement for doing trade, right? Any more than three ships, it's considered otherwise, right? So to to match with their stories that they were looking for spices and so forth, and they were heading east, but they ended up west. Okay, first thing, as they said, he was a navigator, right? And you don't have to be a navigator. Everyone knows the difference with east and west because they are the total opposite, right? So back then, Spain, they would travel westwards, and Portugal, they would travel eastwards. That's why you see Portugal would control most parts in Africa and so forth, while Spain, they would dominate over here prior to the other wars that broke out, right? So they knew exactly where they were going, and they were not conducting any business. First and foremost, merchants could not conquer so many nations, right? They had to be warriors, and they were not regular warriors. These people were mercenary, right? So why did they travel with only three ships, right? Because when you're going to a foreign land, a land that you have no knowledge of, right? You need spies. So you go first, you spy out the land, you spy out the defenses, right? How fortified the walls are and the protective areas and so forth. How strong their warriors are, the weapon, the weapons that they use, right? And you scope out the lands, right? And then when you gather all that information, you do what you're doing and you go back. What do you go back to do? To round up your troops. So let's say he traveled in the three ships in his first trip. He only came as a spy, right? Now we're gonna go to one precept to deal with this part. So this is Psalms 55 and verse 21. It says, "The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart." See, these people, they talk smooth. They talk really nice. It makes you want to make, you want to ally yourself with them. But guess what? It says, but war was in his heart. They don't keep their word. They never kept a covenant, right? His words were softer than oil, yet they yet were they drawn swords. You see? So yes, that is what they were about. That was their mission because they wanted to conquer, right? So that's what they had to do first. So let's go back to this image here on the screen. And as we can see, the three of them, right? And afterwards, there were a lot of them. There were military ships. They came back with cannons, heavy artilleries, and things like that to wage war. Shalom.